Rachel Zegler just keeps making things worse with the Walt Disney Company. The more that she tries to defend this movie, the more that she tries to spew her agenda onto the general public, it's only making matters worse. Not just for Bob Iger, but for whatever is left of the image of Disney as a whole.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
I'm guessing that she's not married. I'm guessing that she doesn't have kids. The movie is a complete disaster, by the way.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. The reality is she's just not stable.
Have they ever thought about maybe like a little bit of like, I don't know, vulnerability study, opposition research, that sort of thing, before you go and hire some Zoomer who's a lunatic?
So apparently, according to them and according to the writers of Snow White, women can't even want to be in love anymore.
The movie is doing catastrophically. They spent $300 million and it currently has a 2.2 out of 10 rating on IMDb.
You know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
The movie has a major identity crisis.
Disney deleted Someday My Prince Will Come and made a modernized feminist alternative.
This was really bad. It was extremely leftist on every political dimension: racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics. Its narrative was cowardly. It was just awful.
It's awful, generic. Never mind that the lyrics make no sense at all. All you have to do to make your dream come true is let it echo. Is it like on a metaphorical level?
Because you just can't close your mouth. You just can't be sane, even when you do open your mouth. I think this girl does not deserve a feature-length film, but rather she deserves to be in a padded cell.
Roles made for actors of my stature. I can't go out for the Harrison Ford or the George Clooney roles because that's not for me.
Right.
And now it's taken away. I don't feel that's right.
Did the dwarfs make it or no?
Well, the CGI dwarfs did. Of course, that goes back to the original controversy where Peter Dinklage, a very talented little person actor, said, why are we doing that? We've hired a Latina actress to be Snow White. That's progressive.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all?
You're ugly. You're disgusting. You get help, you narcissistic bitch.
But this movie is bad. And I'm not some curmudgeonly conservative that thinks every new movie is bad, okay? Don't forget, I liked Barbie.
We put Snow White in second place in its second week. From The Hollywood Reporter, box office upset. Blue collar drama, A Working Man beat Snow White with $15 million.
The cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power and what a woman is fit for in the world. And so when we came to reimagining the actual role of Snow White, it became about the fairest of them all, meaning who is the most just and who can become a fantastic leader. And the reality is, Snow White has to learn a lot of lessons about coming into her own power before she can come into power over it.
Disney's not just under fire. They've practically set themselves on fire at this point. If there was a PR disaster hall of fame, this one would get its own exhibit. Small business owners across the US are yanking Snow White merch off the shelves faster than you can say Disney's gone downhill. And honestly, who can blame them? This isn't just a failed fairy tale anymore. This is a PR apocalypse in real time. So what the heck happened? Strap in. Disney thought they were doing something bold by giving Snow White a modern twist, but instead of updating the story, they took the original, tossed it in a blender, and said, here's something innovative. No dwarfs, no charm, and definitely no happily ever after. Thus, just straight up chaos. And right in the middle of this mess, Rachel Zegler. Yeah, her again. In what feels like record time, she went from Hollywood darling to the face of Disney's downfall. It's like she showed up thinking the entire studio was built for her to model a dress, say a couple lines, cash her check, and bounce. One fan even joked that Rachel treats Disney like her personal fashion sponsor. She just pops in, models the outfit, and pieces out. And honestly, that fan might be onto something.
She speaks, she gets less likable. There's some clip of her on the internet in her Snow White outfit saying, every hour I am in the outfit of Snow White wearing the dress. All 18 hours, I deserve to be paid for every single one. Oh, really? Are you having trouble paying your bills, Rachel? Did Steven Spielberg not pay you for your role in West Side Story? Did Disney fail to give you a healthy paycheck for, cry me a river? She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
Let's talk about Disney's latest blunder, because if you think we're exaggerating, hold on tight. This whole mess is like a Real Housewives reunion, but with more drama and way worse decisions. Disney's been dropping questionable moves left and right, but this one, it might be their boldest fail yet. The internet? Oh, they're dragging them through the mud for it. People are calling it tone deaf, lazy, and straight up insulting. For a company that built its brand on magic, this is not a good look. Disney might need more than a rebranding. They might need a whole new fairy tale after this. Did they really think no one would notice them wasting millions down the drain faster than you can say once upon a time? Seriously, did they think the fans were blind? Let's rewind for a second. The original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs wasn't just some random cartoon. It was the bedrock of the entire Disney empire, dating back to 1937. That movie wasn't just a movie, it was legendary. Touch that? It's like messing with grandma's secret pie recipe. Now switch one ingredient and you've started a family feud that'll last generations. But Disney, they couldn't care less. They hit the green light on a remake that's getting dragged harder than a TikTok fail. Test audiences didn't even call it a movie. They called it a TikTok compilation with a plot crisis. No heart, no soul, just a random mishmash of trends and edits. One person even said it felt like the algorithm was in charge of directing ouch.
Snow White, but the woman playing Snow White is named Rachel Zegler, and she and Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, were caught on the red carpet. This is actually from September of 2022, but it's resurfaced now because the movie's coming out, talking about what we should expect from Snow White.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Oh my God.
Nobody
Who
wants
a movie about true love? What kind of woman do we want out there seeking true love, Eliana? At the
Now here's where it gets truly absurd. Instead of admitting, okay, maybe we messed up, Disney went full-on delusion mode. They dumped even more money into trying to save this sinking ship. More PR, more post-production, more empty spin. It's like they thought tossing a bit of glitter would cover up the fact that the whole thing was falling apart. According to insiders, Disney was under the illusion that the brand itself was untouchable, that the castle logo was basically a golden ticket. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Fans came in like digital snipers, picking apart every weak spot and exposing it for all to see. The acting, flat. The writing, a dumpster fire. The vibe, awkward, desperate, and painfully cringy. One viral comment summed it up. It felt like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Turns out this fairy tale wasn't made of magic dust. It was riddled with holes. And the internet? Oh, they didn't hold back for a second. Now let's talk about the money massacre. Snow White 2025 is shaping up to be one of Disney's biggest financial disasters. It's so bad you can almost hear the execs clenching their teeth with every new box office forecast that drops. And guess what? Each one is lower than the last. Early viewers, they were storming out of nearly empty theaters, looking like they just sat through the world's most confusing art film. Some even said it felt like an art house fever dream, but the kind that leaves you questioning your life choices.
The Walt Disney Company's live-action controversy-bedeviled Snow White opened in theaters with a sleepy $43 million in ticket sales, according to studio estimates on Sunday. With a budget above $250 million, Snow White had set out with higher ambitions, particularly since it returns Disney to its very origins. The 1937 original Snow White and Seven Dwarfs was the company's first animated feature and paid for its Burbank studio lot. So $43 million on a budget of $250 million. And keep in mind, as you always have to keep in mind with these kinds of numbers, that the production budget is not anywhere close to the full budget of the film. There's also a marketing budget, which is often the same as the production budget, if not more, which means that the total amount that Disney probably spent on this Snow White adaptation was probably closer to $500 million.
Let's talk about this disaster. Yikes. The movie's rating crashed to a shocking 1.6 out of 10, and it's like the entire internet decided to join forces and roast this film to the ground. Review after review tears apart the direction, saying it's so bizarre that even fans of cringy cinema can't defend it. Social media is flooded with posts calling it clear proof Disney's magic wand has run out of batteries. And the memes? Totally unmatched. People are dragging the woke dwarfs, ghosting the movie, comparing the plot to a school play written during detention, and calling the visuals Netflix horror filter vibes. It's not just the storyline under fire. Fans are going off about the tone, the lighting, even the camera angles. It's like they threw a ton of money at it, but forgot to make an actually good movie. And if you thought maybe it still had a shot, yeah, not so much. The plot is such a chaotic mess that it feels like an over-caffeinated intern just cut and pasted scenes from 3 completely different movies. 1 minute Snow White is belting out a pop anthem like she's auditioning for The Voice. And the next, she's stuck in a dystopian wasteland that looks like it came from a rejected sci-fi script. It's giving major identity crisis vibes. And speaking of the charming prince, he's completely gone. Vanished. Not even a whisper of him in sight.
Snow White releases today. It's currently sitting at 46% on Rotten Tomatoes. You know, this thing has to be really, really bad. I mean, the critics were looking for any excuse to give it a high score. They know that conservatives don't like Rachel Zegler. Like, even they couldn't find a way to pretend that this piece of trash is anything but a piece of trash. And just to show you how trashy this is, here's a clip of Rachel Zegler performing a song from the film, apparently.
They say all you have to do to make your wish come true is let it echo, 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 echo. Your voice will carry through and bring that dream to you.
The most generic, reheated pop music slop imaginable. Never mind that the lyrics make no sense at all. So a truly bad song with some bad life advice on top of it.
Critics aren't holding back either. They're saying it's not even about empowering strong female characters anymore. It's more like a giant neon-lit billboard screaming, "Look at me!" crashing into the plot like a truck that's completely forgotten how to stop. It's as if they thought, let's throw every woke message we can think of into this film and hope it somehow makes sense. And let's talk about that final dance scene. Oh boy, don't even get me started. It's like a bizarre fever dream where everyone's floating around in all white outfits like they accidentally wandered off the set of a low-budget cult documentary. I'm talking small-town indie vibes, not a Disney fairy tale. It's the kind of scene where you wonder, did someone forget to check if they were even shooting a movie or just letting the actors improvise for a TikTok challenge? One guy walked out of the theater and you could almost hear his soul sighing as he muttered, "That's 30 seconds of my life I'll never get back." And honestly, he wasn't alone. People were practically running for the exit like their seats were on fire. But what really gets me, this could have been avoided. At this point, you'd think Disney would have learned that messing too much with a classic is like trying to make your grandma's secret recipe with a microwave and instant noodles. It's just not gonna work. But nope, they went ahead and did it anyway, thinking they could throw in a bunch of trendy elements and call it innovative. Spoiler alert, it wasn't.
Alex, what has been the reaction to Disney's latest expensive own goal?
Well, the reaction has been absolutely horrible. It is the worst box office from a Disney live action remake that they've ever.
So now the rumor mill is spinning, and some folks are saying that all this backlash is part of some grand smear campaign. But let's be real, whether that's true or not, one thing's for sure. Disney's casting decision has caused way more drama than they could have ever anticipated. Honestly, the real star of this whole mess might just be Rachel Zegler, and not in the way she probably hoped. It's like she's playing a one-woman show of self-destruction, and the internet is the audience. Her PR team should probably get hazard pay at this point for dealing with the aftermath. Instead of taking a step back and maybe letting the dust settle, Rachel's been out there retweeting her fans' praise like she's on a victory lap. Meanwhile, anyone who dares to disagree, well, they're just outdated fossils in her eyes. Oof. It's like watching someone dig their own grave and then toss in a few sparkles for good measure. If there's ever been a masterclass in how to wreck your public image faster than you can say Snow White, this is it. She's out here acting like she's untouchable, like she can keep poking the bear and still come out unscathed. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work that way. And then there's the part where she tries to justify all of it by saying things like, "Oh, my version is more 2022, as if rewriting the entire legacy of Snow White is suddenly revolutionary. sorry. No one's buying that. It's like saying you're reinterpreting a classic recipe, but you're swapping the sugar for salt and then expecting everyone to still clap for your culinary genius. Newsflash, Rachel. You can't just sprinkle some woke fairy dust and expect it to fix the train wreck you've created. Meanwhile, back at Disney HQ, someone should be calling an exorcist for the PR team because they're probably hiding under their desks, clutching the script for dear life, whispering, "Please make it stop," like they're in a slow motion horror movie. You can practically hear the collective facepalm echoing through the halls as they watch the whole thing go up in flames. And let's be honest, they thought they were getting a fairy tale, but what they've ended up with is a full-on PR catastrophe that even their magic wand can't fix. No amount of glitter or fairy dust will hide the fact that this is a disaster of mythic proportions. So while Rachel is out there treating this like her own personal victory parade, the rest of us are watching in disbelief, wondering when Disney's going to finally put an end to this nightmare. And guess what? The internet is loving every minute of it. This whole debacle has become a meme goldmine, and the internet isn't pulling any punches. It's like watching a slow motion car crash that you can't look away from. Oh, but here's where the real fun begins, because the drama doesn't stop with Rachel Zegler. Oh no, folks, the movie itself, it's like if someone tried to smash a fairy tale and a political manifesto into a blender, then hit puree. There's no subtlety here, it's more like a fire hose of woke messaging aimed directly at the audience. Every scene feels like it was test-driven by 100 different focus groups, each one louder and more clueless than the last. And guess what? Somehow, both sides of the political spectrum are trashing it, and when that happens, you know you've pulled off a flop of such legendary proportions that even Disney's magic wand can't save you. This isn't just a flop, oh no, this is an Olympic-level misfire, a fireworks show that went off in someone's face. Political commentators have already labeled it lecture first, entertainment later. And if you've seen it, you're nodding your head because that's exactly what it feels like. It's as if the writers took a checklist, like they were doing their homework on how to not make a fun movie. Add empowerment, check. Remove dwarfs, check. Insert moral speech, check. Disney's like, we're celebrating Snow White's timeless bravery, but excuse me, where's the heart of the original? Was there a moment in the classic where Snow White stopped mid-song to give the forest animals a TED Talk on today's issues? Oh wait, no, that would be way too fun for them. If you thought they might figure out how to combine fairy tale magic with a modern day message, well, newsflash, they've missed that mark harder than a snowball in July. You'll get hit with a moral so hard, it's like a truck of messages crashing into your face. The whole thing feels like a big messy identity crisis, like it doesn't know if it's a fairy tale or an after school special. Now, let's get to the behind the scenes catastrophe. Word on the street, Disney's HQ is a hot mess right now. Imagine a clown car on fire, careening down a hill, that's the vibe. People are saying they've been quietly pulling the plug on Snow White merchandise. I mean, the merch is now considered toxic inventory, and that's coming from inside the company. Yikes. Financially? Oh, this is a complete disaster. The production budget spiraled past $250 million, and that's before they even started trying to market this thing. They spent so much energy on convincing us that this was somehow enchanted, and now, with ticket sales diving faster than a sinking ship, the execs at Disney are sweating bullets. Bob Iger and the gang, they're in full-on panic mode. Investors are furious like grumpy troll under a bridge levels of mad. And insiders are saying that top execs are quietly updating their resumes, in case this movie flops so hard it shakes the very foundation of Disney. Let's be real, this disaster isn't just hurting the film, it's throwing shade all over Disney's reputation. It's like they rolled the dice and got snake eyes, only the dice were made of flaming trash. The whole company is holding its breath, and right now, that glass slipper, it's shattered into a million pieces. If this movie wasn't the definition of biggest flop of the year, I don't know what is. And speaking of the chaos behind the scenes, the staff has started calling this project Snow Wrong, and honestly, that's a compliment compared to what some of the nastier nicknames floating around are. If only Disney had listened to those first test audiences, the ones who practically screamed for them to hit the brakes while they still had a chance. But hey, hindsight is 20/20, unless of course you're staring at an empty theater screen, in which case it's more like 20/20 vision that's been shattered by a wrecking ball. You'd think by now Disney would have learned that not every idea needs to be brought to life, especially when the magic of the original is irreplaceable. But no, they decided to push forward, and now they've turned a beloved classic into a catastrophe that even the most diehard fans can't defend. Now, Let's pull back and look at the bigger picture. The entire entertainment world is watching this disaster unfold, and honestly, it's better than any fireworks show you could imagine. Rival studios? Oh, they're taking notes. They're probably already writing down every single mistake Disney made so they can avoid the same pitfall. Because if Disney's golden child can crash and burn this badly, well, who's safe anymore? Not a single soul in Hollywood is breathing easy right now. This isn't just about Snow White. This is a warning shot to every studio that thinks they can make money off nostalgia without understanding what made these stories special in the first place. We're talking about an industry-wide meltdown that could reshape how studios approach remakes, reboots, and classic tales moving forward. But let's zoom out a little further. This whole train wreck is sparking a much larger conversation that's been building up for a while. People are finally starting to ask, does Hollywood's obsession with remakes need to chill out? Spoiler alert, the answer is yes. No matter how much CGI you throw at a project, it can't save a weak script. It can't save an actress who throws shade at the very thing she's supposed to honor. Fans aren't blind. They're done with the lazy reboots, the fake nostalgia, and the messaging shoved down their throats in every single line of dialogue. At some point, people just want a good story, not a political lecture disguised as entertainment. This remake tried to serve all the modern values without realizing that you have to keep the heart of the story intact. If the heart isn't there, no amount of woke messaging will fix it. Fans know this. They're not stupid. They've seen it before in other reboots, and they're sick of it. The last thing they want is a film that feels more like a lecture than a fairy tale. And honestly, this train wreck should serve as a warning to every studio out there. Before you take a sledgehammer to another childhood classic, just for social media clout, take a second to think about it. Because the moral of the Snow White a disaster is clear. Maybe don't steamroll a fairy tale just to chase Twitter likes. If you're Rachel Zegler, maybe it's time to rethink your strategy of mocking fans who are supposed to support you. Spoiler, they're not showing up at the box office. Not emotionally, not physically, not financially. You can only push your audience so far before they start abandoning ship, and when that happens, it's not just the movie that takes a dive. It's your entire brand, from questionable creative decisions to painfully awkward interviews and PR failures that only made things worse. This might go down as Disney's most expensive lesson in how not to do everything. The script was a mess, the casting choices caused chaos, the PR was disastrous, and don't even get started on the marketing campaign that tried too hard to sell us an enchanted experience only to deliver a watered down mess. Disney has spent millions trying to convince the public that this remake is something magical, but the only magic here is how they managed to turn an iconic story into a laughingstock. It's one thing to miss the mark, but it's a whole other level when the audience doesn't just ignore the film, they outright roast it. And now, as we watch this whole thing crumble, the big question remains. Will Disney learn from this colossal failure, or will they just keep doubling down on remakes, hoping one will stick? For now, it looks like they're gonna need more than a fairy godmother's wand to fix this mess. They've made their bed, and now they're lying in it, praying that the next project doesn't go up in flames like this one did. But hey, that's showbiz, right? You win some, you lose some. Except in Disney's case, it's looking like they lost big on this one. And speaking of the chaos behind the scenes, the staff has started calling this project Our Snow Wrong, and honestly, that's a compliment compared to what some of the nastier nicknames floating around are. If only Disney had listened to those first test audiences, the ones who practically screamed for them to hit the brakes while they still had a chance. But hey, hindsight is 20/20, unless of course you're staring at an empty theater screen, in which case it's more like 20/20 vision that's been shattered by a wrecking ball. You'd think by now Disney would have learned that not every idea needs to be brought to life, especially when the magic of the original is irreplaceable. But no, they decided to push forward, and now they've turned a beloved classic into a catastrophe that even the most diehard fans can't defend. Now let's pull back and look at the bigger picture. The entire entertainment world is watching this disaster unfold, and honestly, it's better than any fireworks show you could imagine. Rival studios? Oh, they're taking notes. They're probably already writing down every single mistake Disney made so they can avoid the same pitfall. Because if Disney's golden child can crash and burn this badly, well, who's safe anymore? Not a single soul in Hollywood is breathing easy right now. This isn't just about Snow White. This is a warning shot to every studio that thinks they can make money off nostalgia without understanding what made these stories special in the first place. We're talking about an industry-wide meltdown that could reshape how studios approach remakes, reboots, and classic tales moving forward. But let's zoom out a little further. This whole train wreck is sparking a much larger conversation that's been building up for a while. People are finally starting to ask, does Hollywood's obsession with remakes need to chill out? Spoiler alert, the answer is yes. No matter how much CGI you throw at a project, it can't save a weak script. It can't save an actress who throws shade at the very thing she's supposed to honor. Fans aren't blind. They're done with the lazy reboots, the fake nostalgia, and the messaging shoved down their throats in every single line of dialogue. At some point, people just want a good story, not a political lecture disguised as entertainment. This remake tried to serve all the modern values without realizing that you have to keep the heart of the story intact. If the heart isn't there, no amount of woke messaging will fix it. Fans know this. They're not stupid. They've seen it before in other reboots, and they're sick of it. The last thing they want is a film that feels more like a lecture than a fairy tale. And honestly, this train wreck should serve as a warning to every studio out there. Before you take a sledgehammer to another childhood classic just for social media clout, take a second to think about it, because the moral of the Snow White disaster is clear. Maybe don't steamroll a fairy tale just to chase Twitter likes. If you're Rachel Zegler, maybe it's time to rethink your strategy of mocking fans who are supposed to support you. Spoiler, they're not showing up at the box office. Not emotionally, not physically, not financially. You can only push your audience so far before they start abandoning ship, and when that happens, it's not just the movie that takes a dive, it's your entire brand. From questionable creative decisions to painfully awkward interviews and PR failures that only made things worse. This might go down as Disney's most expensive lesson in how not to do everything. The script was a mess. The casting choices caused chaos. The PR was disastrous. And don't even get started on the marketing campaign that tried too hard to sell us an enchanted experience, only to deliver a watered down mess. Disney has spent millions trying to convince the public that this remake is something magical, but the only magic here is how they managed to turn an iconic story into a laughingstock. It's one thing to miss the mark, but it's a whole other level when the audience doesn't just ignore the film, they outright roast it. And now, as we watch this whole thing crumble, the big question remains, will Disney learn from this colossal failure, or will they just keep doubling down on remakes, hoping one will stick? For now, it looks like they're going to need more than a fairy godmother's wand to fix this mess. They've made their bed, and now they're lying in it, praying that the next project doesn't go up in flames like this one did. But hey, that's showbiz, right? You win some, you lose some. Except in Disney's case, it's looking like they lost big on this one. Now the rumors are flying faster than a flying carpet on a caffeine rush. Last-minute re-edits, secretive marketing switch-ups, and whispers of legal threats if this whole mess doesn't cool down soon. Hollywood's watching, but they're not just watching, they've got front row seats to this complete disaster. Let's face it, the damage is already done. Disney's golden crown has slipped, and the internet is loving every second of the chaos. Memes, breakdowns, edits. Oh, it's all happening, and it's like a full-on roast session. Who needs a stand-up comedy special when you've got this train wreck? But hold on, don't get too comfy. The drama's far from over. Insiders are dropping hints about deleted scenes that got axed in a panic to calm the angry mobs. Yeah, you know it's bad when you start chopping the film to bits just to avoid a Twitter riot. And the legal team? Oh, they're already circling. This disaster's looking like it's about to get messy. The storm's not even close to stopping yet. It's the same old story we've seen a million times. Big studio thinks they're untouchable, misread the audience completely, gave the lead too much freedom on the mic, and boom, you've got yourself a Hollywood catastrophe that's gonna be talked about for years. If you want the juicy details as they unfold, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss this wild ride. It's like a soap opera, but with more corporate failure and fewer happy endings. And speaking of happy endings, here's the deal. Fairy tales don't always end in glitter and songs. Not when you toss in an ego-packed cast, a script that's as confused as a GPS in a tunnel, and a marketing team that's clearly running on pure denial. Disney doesn't need a magic mirror right now. They need a wake-up call. Someone needs to hit them with the truth, and fast. So smash that like button like it's your last chance to be heard, and sound off in the comments. We want to hear your rants, whether you're fuming, laughing, or just in disbelief that this movie actually got made. Because trust me, the next twist might just out-cringe that all-white cult dance number, if that's even possible. But hey, let's see if Disney can pull off a miracle, or if this remake will go down in history like that sad, stale theme park churro nobody wants to touch. Subscribe to Sizzle Gossip for more sizzling updates. You won't want to miss the next juicy chapter of this ongoing disaster.